We have not forgotten you, not even for a second. The people of Israel are with you. We will not falter and we will not rest until we bring all of you home. To the remaining Hamas leaders and to the jailers of our hostages, I now say, lay down your arms. Let my people go. Free the hostages, all of them, the whole 48. Free the hostages now.
That was Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the UN demanding the release of the remaining hostages held by Hamas. It's been nearly 2 years since the horrific October 7th attack when Hamas took more than 250 hostages into Gaza. Let's bring in Nadav Hudaev. His father was killed during the attack on October 7th, and his body remains in Gaza. So you just saw the Prime Minister there at the UN. What are your thoughts on how he's handled the hostage situation? Are you satisfied that the Prime Minister is doing everything he can to get the hostages out?
No, and I think it's a bit hypocritical for him to say, bring all hostages back now, when he is the one holding the pen to sign a deal that is right now laid on the table. A couple of them, some of them were given by Steve Witkoff and the Trump administration, and Trump himself said that he needs to bring all hostages back. So
are you saying the deals are there and Benjamin Netanyahu just needs to say yes to the deal? Why would he not want to sign a deal to bring his own people home?
I think what happened since the attack on October 7th is that I know who Hamas is. I grew up in the south of Israel, in Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak. I know how they're operating and trying to kill us. That's the only truth. That's their rhetoric. That's the radical Islamic views that they have as Hamas and their proxies. And I think the fact that they attacked us, there is some sort of a strong want to revenge the people that was killed that day, that were murdered, that would burn her out alive. And I think the biggest problem of that war is that we still have 48 hostages remain captive in Gaza. 20 of them presumed to be alive. We don't really know because we don't have all the statistics.
Do you feel like Benjamin Netanyahu is prioritizing the war over the hostages, over releasing his own people?
100%.
You believe that?
100%. I think approximately a month after October 7th, I was with friends and my family, and I said that I think on October or November of 2026 is when we will see all hostages coming back, because that's when the election are supposed to happen in Israel.
Do you think that President Trump could do something or say something to Benjamin Netanyahu to force him to come to the table to release?
I think he's done a lot so far, and I think he still has a lot of power to talk with Netanyahu. They have a meeting this upcoming Monday, and they are supposed to talk about how to resolve that situation and to end.
You're very much in touch with the other families, of the other hostage families. Do the majority of them want this war to end so their families and their bodies can come home?
I'm going to put the families aside, and I'm going to talk about the citizens of Israel.
Yes.
80%, according to latest polls that have been made in Israel, 80% of the citizens, of the people of Israel that Netanyahu is supposed to represent, want the war to end and for all hostages to be released so all of us can start rehabilitating our life again. We've been living for the past almost 2 years now in this veil of death. We're always surrounded by death, and that needs to end. The people that are still surviving in captivity needs to be released first and foremost, because they are surviving in hell right now. My dad, unfortunately, have passed. He was killed during battle, and we want to
get his body back
and put him to his final rest, and give him a proper burial so we can have a place to cry and to talk to him.
Nadev, I've run out of time, but I really want to thank you for your candor. I do not think the American public knows that statistic about what 80% of the Israeli population believes. Really appreciate your candor, and we pray every day that these hostages are released. God bless you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nadav.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.